Hello, everyone. Welcome to Not Just Cupid. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. This is the final episode on resolving
September we
conflict in
met.
relationship. If you
I
missed the
can tell
previous
by your smile.
episode, the link is in the
You haven't
description.
been with a
Thank you,
good
and
girl like
let's
me in a
get
while.
talking.
Hey guys, it's your girl Success again, and yes, we're finally going to finish on this love and war matter, basically resolving conflict. So, if you're seeing this video for the first time, there was actually a beginning to this. This is like the end. So, you might want to go back to my previous post, the previous video, so you can catch up on what we're talking about because now this is like the conclusion of the whole matter. Basically the end part of it. But what we're talking about, let me just give a little bit of summary, but you will have to go back to the previous video to really understand. We're talking about conflicts and how conflict is not totally wrong, or it's not bad. Let me not say wrong, it's not bad. Depending on how it's handled, it actually brings people closer rather than pulling them apart. If it is handled rightly, it brings them closer. If it is not handled properly, then obviously it's going to push you apart. So yes, back to the main point. And the next, something we were talking about, what we can do to, what are the things we can do to resolve conflicts? How can we resolve conflicts in the right way? And one of the things that can be done is, okay, before I say that, we've talked about how it is important to actually have conversations about it, like talk. It is very important. Communication, we know it is a very, very important factor in any form of relationship. Okay, so you have to keep the conversation constructive. Like, it has to be a constructive conversation. So what you want to do is take ownership of your feelings without like totally blaming the other person. So what I mean is, rather than trying to point fingers or make the other person feel guilty per se, what you should do is, let me give you a typical scenario. When you did this, it made me feel like you didn't love me, or it made me feel like you didn't appreciate me. Now that's a constructive way of passing across the message of how their action made you feel. But if you put it this other way, you don't love me, that's why you did this and you did that and you said this, you have already blamed that person. You're not taking ownership of your feelings, and see, the other person will only come out defensive because now you're pointing fingers and you've not yet heard the other person out to even understand why he or she reacted that way. So you might want to take ownership of your feelings while you're expressing yourself. It makes every other thing better. So when you're saying it that way, that person, it's easier for that person to actually listen, understand. The person have realized that, okay, it's not like she's blaming me, she's not pointing fingers at me, but they begin to realize the consequence of their actions, like how their actions made you feel, without feeling blamed, but they feel more empathy than trying to be defensive. And one thing that we have to avoid, see, never use these words, especially in between like a conflict, or in short, generally, just put it at the back of your mind. In a relationship, you can never really say, you never do this, you never call, you never, or you're always getting me pissed, you're always like, you don't want to keep doing that, because those are very, those two words are very, very sensitive, especially in a very heated argument or a very sensitive situation, because it's like total judgment in both extremes, never and always. So you want to be careful with your words. Don't use you never do this, you always do this. Don't use those words. Just express yourself without using those terms. Like, you do this and I feel like you should stop it, or when you do this, it makes me feel like you don't appreciate me or you don't listen. But don't say, you never listen to me anytime I talk. So you, you want to say, since you met that person, they have never ever listened to you. Like, do you get it? Is wrong in any term you want to look at it. Using those two words, never and always, they're very extreme for most situations, and they turn out to actually be wrong, because you can't say that person has never done this or has always been doing a particular thing. So please be guided. It's gonna save your life. Don't forget it. Okay, so another thing is, you have to realize that the point of having the conversation is so you would understand where the other person is coming from. So it means you have to listen to understand. Don't be defensive. Because most people listen so they can give you a counterpoint. Listen so you can understand that person. Same thing. So basically, like, you have to realize that it's not literally war. It's not war. But when it's wrongly handled, it becomes war. So putting in mind that it's not war, both of you want to make sure you're on the same page, or there's some sort of understanding and there's peace. Listen to that person, be empathic. Don't come with your guards on. No. Else it just defeats the entire purpose of the whole thing. So rather than, when the person is talking, you're literally searching your head to think of points to counter the person, counter this other person back and tell them why you are right and why they are wrong. You listen. Places you don't understand, where that you think, okay, things are not really correlating or they don't just add up to you. Ask questions. Ask questions so you can further understand, but focus on what the person is saying. Don't be focused. Don't Your mind should have been wandering and you're trying to think of past incidents that you can remind them of. Okay, you say I never do this. How come I've done this? Like, don't do all that. Just listen and focus on the conversation. That is how you're going to get the result that you need. And something that is very important: always be willing. Be willing to ask for forgiveness and to apologize. When you're finished listening to the other person, you now understand what you did. Because if you're listening to understand them, you realize, okay, even if you didn't do it intentionally, that, okay, I should have done this differently. This wouldn't have happened this way. At that point, when you realize, ask for forgiveness. Say you're sorry. You see these words, I am sorry. They literally can quench a fire. You can literally avoid war with just I'm sorry. So you need to learn to swallow your pride, because yes, see, when it comes to love, you have to drop your ego down. Now I'm saying this for romantic relationships, but even generally, drop your ego. Ego has not helped anybody anyway. It just causes problems. So drop your ego and bring out the human part of you. Be humble enough to say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you, or I didn't do this. My actions were not with the intention of hurting you. But now I understand how you feel. I see your perspective. Or it could be a difference in perspective. It might not even be like you hurting the person, like doing something. It might be like, okay, I never saw this from your perspective. I always thought it was this way, but now I know. I'm sorry, it won't happen again. Or please forgive me that I hurt you or I said this. Be humble. Just ask for forgiveness and apologize. And the other person, don't make that when they come to apologize to you, don't make them feel bad or feel like, yeah, I was right and you were wrong, like that kind of thing. No. Also, be polite and accept the apology. So everyone moves on, everyone is happy. That brings you closer. You see, the fact that you can actually listen to that person and they feel like you validate their feelings. Like, you're not telling them, why would you feel this way? Or even if it doesn't make sense to you, the fact that they feel that way, that's how they feel. You have no control over it. So when you're like, okay, I'm sorry, now I understand, giving them that validation, it brings you people closer. Because they say that, okay, you're not selfish. You also care about how they feel. And that's very, very important. Okay? So you want to make sure that you both are becoming closer rather than being torn apart. Okay? And one last thing, the last point for today. Sometimes when you keep having conflict and you're trying to resolve it, You might need to talk about that thing over and over and over and over and over. And sometimes it feels like you're not even on the same page. You can't sort of even bring yourself to be on the same page. At that point, you might need the help of someone older, wiser, better, more skilled. I'm saying all this is you might need to meet an older couple, or you might need to see a therapist. You being in the picture, you can't really see the frame, but someone outside sees the frame, they see the picture, so they're probably able to give you better perspective. You get. So it's not wrong to get opinion or help outside. Make sure whoever you're going to meet, you want to look at what they have or their character. You want to look at the kind of relationship they have, how they resolve their conflict, or how you can perceive it. I mean, you can't go and meet, you're having issues in your relationship, and you go and meet couples and they're always fighting. The woman probably always insults her husband, the man probably always hates his wife. What counsel are you going to receive? Is it how to turn your house to a punching to a wrestling scene? No. So you have to be careful who you get advice from. So you might want to look at this person, whoever you're going to. It means they mirror what you want to have, or from experience that they are good with this aspect. Or like I said, you get professional help. You could go for counseling, or you could go meet a therapist. But the major thing is you are resolving your conflicts. Okay, so at the end of the day, we have to tolerate one another. You have to be empathic. Respect your partner, respect whoever it is you're having a conflict with. As much as having a conflict doesn't mean you should be disrespectful, so respect them. And then be honest. You should be a person of integrity to be able to honestly say what the problem is or how you see it, and you be honest in taking the feedback. Some people are not honest with themselves. Like when you've explained to them, they realize that they're wrong, they will never admit. Because they're very dishonest people, so they can't afford to be wrong. It's not about right and wrong at this point. When you're trying to resolve conflict, remove that thing from your head that he's right and wrong, or she's right and I'm wrong. No, don't do that. It's not about being right or being wrong. So, and you have to be a forgiving person, and you have to be able to ask for forgiveness as well. Those things are too important. So let me know how you resolve conflicts in the comment section below. I would really love to know your thoughts, your opinions. How do you resolve conflicts? Do you agree with what I've said, or do you think it could be done in a different way? Do you have something to add? What other way can conflicts be resolved? Or if you want to further buttress on certain points I've talked about, please, I would be thrilled to hear what you have to say. So please just comment below. Just share. Let's get talking. If you agree with me, you can further buttress your points. But today has been like I really enjoyed this, and I hope that this helps someone out there. I really hope it does. And I advise that if it was helpful to you, why don't you share this with a friend? You could share it on your platform so other people can also learn, because many relationships are breaking. Not because these people don't love each other, but little conflict, which is very normal, comes and destroys something very beautiful. Meanwhile, conflict is supposed to bring everyone, it's supposed to bring you together, because that's what teaches you. You begin to learn about the other person. That's what conflict does. It makes you realize, okay, I have this perspective, this person has this perspective. When there's a conflict, you are forced to understand that person. That person is forced to understand you if he's rightly handled, and then you meet somewhere in the middle, or you get on the same page. So I hope this was really helpful. Thank you so much for your time, and see you in the next episode. Take care.